Live. Live, 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 live. That light does a weird thing. A little sparkly like Hollywood. Yeah. Oh, there's nobody in here yet. Nobody. It's too early, Steve. That's why nobody's in here. Scott's in here. How you doing there, Mr. SRO Logistics? CPAP, what's up? There we go. That'll make that work. Making coffee. And I'm getting loaded. What's up, Juan? I'm your alarm. I'm alarming, all right, especially in the morning. So, just thought I'd say good morning. It is perfect temperature. It's like 62 degrees. I'm running the APU, but only because I'm making a cup of coffee. Fixed the APU last night. Good deal, Scott. Mr. Barrett, what's up? Red Pepper. It's me, Gary. I'm not Gary. I'm just saying hello to that YouTuber name. It's me, Gary. So, what's going on with you guys? I'm making my coffee and it's taking in a minute. Let's take it back there, shall we? Coffee. There we go. Go on to grab your cereal and go to sleep. You shouldn't sleep with your cereal there, Juan. Looking for a load out of Richmond, Virginia right now. Yep, get the hell out of there, dude. You talk to Gary. CPAP, he's a nice guy. Well, that's good to hear. Big Tex, what's up? I saw you sneak in here. So I'm getting loaded. And we're waiting for this coffee to brew. And the race is on. Will they have me loaded before I get my coffee brewed? Yeah. Juan, it's doing all right. Knock on wood. When the AC doesn't have to work so hard, it's doing pretty good. My truck is what I'm more worried about. That little mill light is on, so I got to get that checked out soon. Make sure it's nothing serious. I'm gonna guess. You know, this time of year. Here's the thing, guys. This time of year can wreak havoc on the trucks. You know, everybody thinks of the extreme temperatures, but when you go from, like this morning, it was 60 degrees, so all the dew's out there, and you know, and all the moisture, and then when you go from 60 degrees, at the end of the day, it's like 80 or 90. That will wreak havoc on the electronics. The wires get wet, and moisture does a lot of bad things to computers, right? So that's what runs these trucks now. Forget the engine, it's all about the computers. So when it gets really bad is when you're like looking at like 30 to 40 degree days, and then 60 and 70 degree days. So 30 to 40 degrees at night, and then 60 degree, 70 degree days. And if you're putting some major miles and you're going through a front, you might start off in the 30s and end up in the 90s. So just food for thought there. Food for thought. So we're waiting for this coffee to brew. I thought I'd just say hi, chat with the guys, pull a James Best and do an early morning live feed. Place is real easy to find. Keto coffee? Nope. FEMA loads. Red Pepper? Nope. Don't do them. Big Yeti, what's up? The thing with FEMA loads is, like, there are brokers that are looking for FEMA trucks now, and they're saying that you might be on them for like up to 3 months. So imagine if you're staging, doing FEMA work for a month, you got to be able to float whatever bills you have for the month, because you don't get paid till after the load. Now you could get a cash advance, but on a $30,000 load, some guys at Katrina were making $1,000 a day just sitting, and they might have sat for like, I heard one guy sat for like a month and a half. That's a lot of money. Hey Snowler, I'm living in Springfield and getting my first truck. Do you know any good places to park my truck during home time? I can't park at my house. Yes, Mr. Arturo. There's a McDonald's slash like a truck stop over there by the 18-wheeler truck stop, exit 88. You can park there. I got friends that park the Flying J there in Springfield, but it's hard to get in the afternoon. If you're looking for a secured lot, there's a few places. There's one off Kearney over there by the trailer park, close to the industrial park there, way on East Kearney. And then there used to be a secured lot on Glenstone, but I don't think it's there anymore. I think they moved. All right, we got our coffee. Hey, Gear Grabber, I saw you sneak in here. So I figure with all the negativity on YouTube right now, we would get some stuff, positive stuff out there. My water. So ground is oversaturated on the East Coast and a hurricane coming. Not a good scene. Yeah, I agree, dude. I agree. Gonna be a deal, man. Now, what FEMA freight will do is that will create a vacuum in the regular market. And at some point, we'll be able to name our price. I'm getting some good mileage rates this week. You have coffee now? Where's the bacon? I got bacon. I'm not eating yet, though. No, I don't know how much the lot on Kearney costs. Sorry. I have a secure lot where I park my trailer that I don't pay for, and then I bobtail home, so. I left my lights on for a second. Now, I know a lot of guys that park at that McDonald's, they don't have any problems. So, Truck Review Channel, what's up? Game on money-wise for a few months. Right, Gear Grabber. I figures that's when my truck check engine light wants to come on. Turn the APU off, turn that light off. Oh, I gotta deal with this coffee maker. Take coffee grounds, put them in the trash. Make the truck smell like coffee. Unplug it. Put this in the corner so it's not to get damaged. We are good to go. Turn that light off. And turn that light off. It's dark, oh my god. Alright. Oh, we're back to that. There you go. That'll block that light. You had bacon and eggs for dinner last night? Scott, Yukon, what's up? CPAP pays $50 a month. Yeah, Arturo, I hope I'm not butchering your name, but you're looking at usually $50 to $100 a month on something like that. Kevin and Ollie, what's up? I watched an interesting live feed last night, Kevin, and I hope you're not being brought into the storm. Let's see. I pay $200 a month by my house for secure parking, truck and trailer. Says Scott. Even the grabber's gonna have to go out there and make some money. Yep. You have to put that old truck to work there. I love when I walk downstairs and the whole kitchen smells like coffee. Hell yeah, Juan. So, Yukon, what's okay? Now, this place where I'm delivering it in Springfield, I've never been to before. I pass it several times a day when I'm home. It's kind of tight in there, so it'll be interesting. But I'm a professional, so we'll work it out. Big Rich, what's up? Well, good deal, Kevin. Good deal. Big Rich. There's a screenshot. Hell, I could do that right now. I'm going to send you a screenshot of something. It's not dirty. It's just a rate thing. Let's see here. Gallery. They're making an awful lot of noise in that trailer that is not normal. Like, you can tell when they're getting up against the walls. Oh. Let's see. Big Rich. There you are. Boom. I sent you something, Mr. Rich. Something you probably already know. Also, 'tis the season for allergies, so I had to take care of that. Blow my nose. Oh. You have no idea what you're referring to? I'll call you today. But anyways, that's all. I don't have anything important to say, really. I mean, that's kind of like normal, right? I don't have anything important to say. I just thought I'd kill some time. I've already cut my logbook. Got all my numbers in there like we've been told to do. So that's good. Got my GPS all programmed, even though I know where I'm going. And while I'm unloading, I'll find my next load that picks up today. Oh yeah, 9/11. Never forget. I agree, bandana. You're in the TA in Jacksonville. My thought for today, coffee, more coffee. There you go, Red Pepper. Now, I left my mug that I had at home, my generic Yeti, so I got another generic Yeti. Instead of Ozark Mountain Trail, it's this one's called Built. It's got fancy squigglies on it, right? I like the lid on this. The lid closes. Can't really show you. The lid closes, and there's an extra like part of the drink hole that makes it easier to sip. I like this cup. So there's my endorsement. Drink with Built cups. There. A good endorser, don't you guys think? And for those of you wondering, here's the bacon. There you go. People asking where the bacon was. It's right here. You started at Schneider 1 year ago today. All right, Kevin. Now I know you're up. I'll holler at you. Where did you get it? The bacon? I got it at Walmart. Oh, the cup? I got that at Walmart too. Sorry, that was kind of a dumb answer. Does it say hot in that cup? Yeah, it's just like the Yeti cups. It's these things are amazing. In fact, you have to usually cool your coffee down a little bit so it's drinkable, because if not, it won't be drinkable. It's too hot to drink for like an hour. John Cater, what's up? Kevin, what's up? Haven't seen you in a minute. Get the right brand bacon at Walmart. It has a resealable package. Can't tell me what to do, Scott. Nah. It's also 50 cents more for that. I'd rather just bust out a Ziploc bag and throw it in there. Because I saw those. I saw what you were talking about. So I watched some YouTube videos last night. Let's see, what was one about? One was about Butter Bob. I finally watched one of his videos. That was pretty cool. What was another one I watched? Oh yeah, Gravity Transformation. I watched that one. Then there was another one. Oh, Pale Rider. I watched his video. I was on his live feed last night. Let's see. Yeah, I know, Big Rich. Yeah, it's also good for cold drinks. Yeah, Bandana. Had to do a park regen this morning. Have you ever had to do this? Yes, John Capone. I had to do it in my Peterbilt a couple of times, and I had to do it in my. I had a Kenworth 660 as a company truck, and I had to do a park regen with that. And that's why you should always give yourself like 2 hours of what I call BS room when you're trying to book your own freight, because there's been times where I've almost been late for a run because of a park regen. And if you're having to do a lot of park regens, then you might have to take it to a shop and get a forced regen and get your DPF filter checked out. So it's either your DPF filter is not working as efficiently, and or it might be the dozer valve is going out, which tends to happen. They call it the 7th injector or something like that. Yeah, flatbed's down. Zane, what's up? I've had this truck for 2 years, says CPAP, and I've never had to do a park regen yet. I hardly ever idle. That's the trick, man. You can't idle these trucks. I don't think I've idled this truck for more than half an hour since I've had it. And the person that owned this truck before me had a Rigmaster APU on it, so there's no telling if it worked or not. Sorry, I'm not blowing my nose on camera. All right. Did your APS light come on? This said 10-minute regen. No. I have no idea what you're talking about there, John. Need an APU? Yes. When I see, the only DEF truck I ever had as a company driver was the 660, and I was in that truck for 2.5 years. At 9,000 miles, that thing put me on a hook because of a regen issue. And what it was that's a funny story, because the truck was running fine until the shop there at the company serviced it. Next thing you know, the little mill light comes on and say, well, don't worry about it, you know. And what was funny is I had this argument with the shop guy, and he was like, I said, hey, I've got this light on. You know, I call him up, he goes, well, what's that light mean? I said, well, that's why I called you. He's like, well, did you read the manual? I'm like, no. He goes, you need to read the manual. Okay. So I get up to close to South Bend, Indiana, and now another light's on, one with the check, the actual check engine light with the wrench in it. And then eventually the red stoplight came on. So I called up the shop the next morning and was like, hey, the red engine light's on, and I read the manual and it says don't move the truck. And you know what he asked me? Do you think you can get it to South Bend? Because that was like probably 20 miles from there. I was livid. I went off on him. And I said, I finally read the manual like you told me, and now you're going to do what the manual says not to do. I said, you're just messing with me at this point. I said, is it possible that one of your grease monkeys forgot to plug them back in when they serviced the truck? Well, now he's livid back, right? Because I've gone round and round with the guys in the shop down there. I mean, I've got like a 12-inch extension, socket extension that they left in the engine compartment. That's how good the at that time. So I put the truck in gear. It's derated completely, won't go. So I call them up. You got to get a tow truck. So we get a tow truck, takes me to Kenworth, and they look at it all day. And then I go in the office just as the guy is telling my shop guy that there was the sensor that tells the truck to regen was unplugged. From that point on, that shop lead guy was pretty nice to me. So, moral of the story is, I had no faith in DEF trucks at that point. The truck I had before that was the Cummins that uses diesel fuel, not DEF fluid, right? And when I bought my Peterbilt, it was set up the same way, 2009 Cummins. And so when I got this truck, the whole moral of the story, there's an end game to this story. When I went to go look for new trucks, I told the guy my concerns about DEF, and the first thing out of his mouth was, do you plan on buying an APU because you don't want to idle these trucks? And this is a guy that worked for MHC Kenworth for 28 years. So that was the first thing out of his mouth. So what does that tell you? That tells you that idling these trucks is bad. The only way I would be an idler is if I had a full maintenance lease and I wasn't too worried about it. I'm not worried about that repair. I agree, John Cater. All right, Juan, have a good nap. 9/11, where were you? I'll tell you here in a second. Big Billy, what's up? Yukon does gross things. So, where was I on 9/11? I was a welder at Tracker Marine. I worked in a small plant that was in Springfield that was hardly unknown because it was unknown because they had a major plant in Lebanon, Ozark, and Bolivar, Missouri. And we had a small plant where we made the tundras and the avalanches. And all the big bosses had gone to this boat show that was being held at a cruise ship. It was like some kind of boat trade show thing on a cruise ship in Florida. And they were on their way to do that. So we had done all of our preparations for the boat show, and so it was pretty lax in there already. And at one point went to break time, and someone turned on the TV and said, dude, and they talked about the two towers and the Pentagon being hit, and I thought, you're kidding, right? It sounded like a movie, plot to a movie, right? So we turned on the TV, and I was just mesmerized. I was just like, wow. And then so when we went back to the shop, we turned on the radio, and all of us, except for like two guys that were just keep working and keep working and keep working, right? We're just glued to the radio. And I was listening live when the two towers fell, when they both fell. And since there was no shop leads in the shop, no one was really cracking the whip. One of the guys that was like jealous because we're all standing around and he was having to work his ass off, he made a comment. It was like, dude, you can hurry all you want because this is going to change things. This is going to change the economy. And it did. That plant ended up closing about 6 months later. So Yukon, is that true? Isn't 9 a.m. kind of a early time to be snorting cocaine? It's about what 9/11 happened. If you idle at night, it says Red Pepper, you have to resend in the morning before you take off. I think he meant regen. The problem with idling, if you idle all night and then only drive like 50 miles or 100 miles and shut the truck off, that's really bad. You want to get the temperature up there. You want to do a hard, 3 or 4 or 500 miles before you stop to get that truck a chance to regen. And he said that, because I asked the sales guy, was like, look, what about a 10-hour break? How bad is that? He goes, well, a 10-hour break here and there isn't bad. However, what a lot of guys do is they'll idle for more than that, like 16 to 24 hours, and then they'll only drive 100 miles, and then that's where you get a lot of problems. You were playing for Lou Gramm back then? Oh, okay. I believe that, Yukon. Yukon's a really good guitar player. In fact, he should just go live and do guitar stuff a lot. I would watch that. That's different from what all the other YouTubers do. I'm not that great a guitar player, so I don't do any live feeds with me playing guitar. I've done it a couple of times. You drove 220 yesterday and idled all night. The other reason why I was quick to get an APU is because I like having that extra generator for my CPAP machine. Now you can use the CPAP machine without. You can just get a small inverter, but it's better to just have the APU. So my APU's already got. It's only a year and a half old. It's already got 3,000 hours on it, 3,500 hours on it. But I'm not going to use the word sparingly, but I don't use it like the minute I'm parked, I don't turn it on. Like right now, the temperature's perfect. So unless I need the power for something, I usually don't have it on. Unless I'm going to sit all day, and then I'll have it for the AC on the hot days. Yeah, I think APUs should be standard on all trucks. Like I said, and here's the other thing, man. You save a lot on fuel. I mean, back when fuel was down to like $2 a gallon in some places, it wasn't as big deal. But I know that there were times in the winter, especially with the Peterbilt, I would stay out extra long so I could make some extra money, and then only to see that extra money go out the window because I had to idle because it was like 10 degrees. Because when it's that cold, I usually idle. Now, and that's in the Peterbilt. Now, this truck, I've had this APU on at 20 below zero, and that engine cranked right over. So, I haven't, the Carrier's just a much better APU, in my opinion. I'm not an expert. The only expertise I can give you is I've had 8 different tri-packs and only one Carrier, and that should tell you something. Here in Florida, it's pretty toasty. Have you ever got through Pedigree to get a truck? I looked at them. I tried to get, the thing with Pedigree is you got to get on the prime property, and I called the guy, told him I was going to come down, and I couldn't. Something got messed up, and the dude was rude to me. So I'm like, psh. So I tossed that idea out the window. Now, if you guys follow Rate Per Mile Master Shane Ferris, he's bought some trucks from Pedigree, I believe, and he does well with them. Sean Price, what's up? You live between Rochester and Syracuse? Red Pepper, I used to live up there near Freeville. I used to live up there in Dryden in Groton, New York. I don't know if you know where those towns are. I have no idea what I'm picking up. It's supposed to be automotive, but this place makes wire stuff. I was looking at I was walking by their supply closet, and they had like the auto tint welding helmets. It's like, man, I want one of those. Yeah. Got some good bands out of New York. You got the infamous Anthrax. You got Nuclear Assault, Overkill. All kinds of good bands. I can tell you why, John. There's just not a whole lot of money. I've got a friend of mine that he's one of the top metal drummers in the area, but his band paying gig is he's the drummer for the Osmond family, and he's done European tours with them and everything. Then I have another friend that lives in Nashville. He's another metal guy, and he actually won a contest where he got the jam with the guys from Exodus and won a guitar and everything. And he's a paid hired gun guitar player for a country guy down there in Nashville. Tours the world with him. So the really good musicians, if they know the right people, can get tours with these bigger groups. And but that's a day-by-day life scenario. I don't have the chops to do that. I play guitar, but I'm not a good guitar player. You're thinking about moving to Springfield? What's the cost of living? It's pretty good. Cost of living is pretty low. You can get a decent apartment or small house for rent for $600 to $800 a month. Um, Gas is fairly cheap in Missouri. Um, that was one of the selling points of why my parents moved to Springfield, because the cost of living was lower than Tennessee, and I'm not sure if it was lower than Arkansas, but it's definitely lower than Phoenix where we lived. Definitely not as high as New York. All pedigree are mostly Rigmaster APUs on their trucks. Might have to deal with it. I've never heard good things about Rigmasters, but yeah, that's what. See, here's the thing: when you go to Prime, as a lease operator, they nickel and dime you like any other lease company, and a lot of the guys choose the Rigmasters because they're a cheaper option. Which is insane because MHC Carrier Kenworth owns Carrier, the Carrier dealership, and they deal with Prime directly. Like, Prime's involved in all that somehow. But you don't see hardly any Prime trucks with Carrier APUs on them. Oh, Man-O-War, yes. Ronnie James Dio, yep. Yeah, Yukon and I can talk music, man. Even though he's got, when it comes to guitar playing, I'm a one-trick pony. But Yukon, he can play a little bit of everything, but he knows his metal. There's a lot of times that Yukon, Ike Stevens, and I will talk some old bands that a lot of people are like, who? What? Huh? Newhouse, what's up? But man, this coffee's good. I've got enough for one more batch of my good organic coffee, then I gotta go shopping again. Like you guys care. Yeah, John says I play bass, but nowhere near good enough to do it for a living. TSOJ, what's up? Pale Rider, good morning. All right, Scott. Out here waiting for the hurricane. Good morning, Firebird. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that ahead of the storm, they had 3 states declare a state of emergency. 3 states have already taken the hours of service and thrown them out the window. I think I read somewhere that they're getting ready to close parts of I-26 in anticipation of, during hurricane evacuations, they'll make both sides of the interstate one way. And brokers are already trying to get things lined up for the FEMA stuff. And I think what they're doing there, what the brokers are doing there, is they're trying to get their rate now before the demand goes up. And it's a gamble because you can get in now and see what's gonna happen, and maybe nothing will happen, but then if you wait till the last minute, you may not be able to get in. So it's a gamble. I paid $9,800 arterial. It's cheaper than the Thermo King. And if you don't have an inverter or a bunk heater installed in your truck, you don't need one installed. You don't need those installed with the Carrier. With the Thermo King, you got to have those installed. Yes, Taz. They share the building with, like, they tried to explain it to me, but MHC owns Carrier. They're in Springfield. So when you go there, you got MHC Kenworth, then you got MHC Carrier that shares the building with the MHC Kenworth Body Shop. It's like a little super complex there. Now the short game's been working really well for me. I think I've gone 100 and I'm up to only like, I'll be at 200 miles by time I deliver this in Springfield, and I'll be at $1,200. So it's pretty good. Now, sometimes the short game around here, it's not that I was trying to do a short game, but I saw an opportunity on a load, and I called the broker, and he was very, very friendly. He was show gratitude, in his emails and in the phone conversations, like, oh, thank you for helping us so much with this load. I'm like almost a little bit like I was kind of like, okay, I'm just doing my job, and again, it blows these brokers away when I do check calls with the email. Been by there 100 times and never knew that. Yep. Rick Jones, what's up? Yeah, pedigree is kind of a weird, like, I think it's the lot that's like if you go in like you're going to Prime, you go to the right. I think that's where they store all the trucks and trailers. Now, they told me this load was going to be, what'd they say? 14,000. But with my tandems all the way to the back, my suspension gauge is showing like a 42,000 pound load. That's annoying. So either they loaded it heavy on the front, or it's not no 14,000 pounds. That's not good English. Not no. Not no. It's not no. It isn't 14,000 pounds. All right, Bandana. Check you later. Anyways, what else you guys want to talk about? Thinking I might just get a Carrier installed in the Rigmaster. How's the AC? The AC works pretty good. The thing with Carriers, though, it's like what I have to do, and I'll be honest here, what I have to do is I have to, like, for example, we're all at GATS. I think Harold just he ran his AP the whole time. So when we got back in our trucks, he was cool. What I had to do though was I had to idle the truck for about 15 minutes with the AC just blowing really cold. Then the Carrier maintains after that. I was having an issue with my breaker tripping, and I didn't want to idle my APU for 48 hours straight. So that's why I did that. So the only issues I've had is my breaker, my HVAC breaker will trip at times when the AC is working too hard. And these 680s are big sudden Like they absorb a lot of sun. Anytime you got a condo type cab, you know, it could be 70 degrees, and if your windows are closed, that sun's out, it beats on. That truck will get up to 90 pretty quickly. Especially if you got a black truck like I had with the Peterbilt. But the Thermo King, you know, that's the other thing about Carriers that are different. Carriers got to run at all times. It's like having a home generator, right? Whereas the Thermo King, if you got your AC on and it's not set too high, the motor will shut off eventually. But the Carrier's got to run constantly. But the AC, you can set a thermostat and the AC will come on and off and on and off, but the APU is going to be running. You never believe what the bills say. Well, it's not about the bills, it's what the brokers are saying. There's no scales I got to worry about between here and Springfield, so there's that. You're better off buying a lawnmower engine than the Rigmaster. Tri-Pack is better. Different design than the Tri-Pack. Gordon asks if I've ever heard of an AC unit called Zero Breeze, or if anybody out there has. Is that the one where it's like a standalone unit, but it's an actual AC? They're like $400 or $500. Not that. It's not that cheap made for TV thing that you're thinking about, is it? It's like a space heater equivalent, but it's an air conditioner. Is the Carrier's got to run all the time? Wouldn't that make the Thermo King better? The problem that I have with Thermo King, Billy, is that for example, let's say you're not running the AC or heat, okay? Or let's say you're running heat, right? So what happens is when your batteries become under a certain wattage, then that's when the motor kicks on, right? That's when the motor kicks on, the charge batteries. So your batteries are constantly going a draw, load, draw, load, draw, load. Well, you'll go through more batteries that way. Every truck that I've ever had a Thermo King in, I've gone through a set of batteries at least once a year. The way a Carrier works, it will kick on if the batteries get too much of a draw as well. You could set it up like that. But it charges, it's not drawing. So like you know, if you want to microwave food in the Thermo King, you know, once that battery gets drawn, then the motor kicks on. So you drain your batteries, then now you're charging them. So if your alternator goes out, which is common with the Thermo Kings, then that gets expensive. So the Carrier is just like right now, I'm running my cooler, I'm running my fridge, and so that's running off my batteries. But that's like normal. Now, if I had a Thermo King, I could turn it on. Let's say I wasn't using the AC, but let's say I turn on the microwave, then that Thermo King will kick on, and it'll kick on once the batteries are below a certain voltage. If I get a low voltage warning in here, I just turn on either the APU or I'll turn on the truck. No, it's not cheap. Big 4 TV standalone runs about $800. Big Rig CEO, what's up? I hope you guys are enjoying Big Rig CEO's channel, especially you Schneider guys. Go check him out. He's been watching me in the YouTube universe for a while, and now he wants in on it. Which I don't blame him. YouTube's fun sometimes. Yeah, see, if I was a fleet owner, I would put carriers on my trucks because they're more cost efficient. You know, a lot of your fire issues are because of bad inverters or bad inverter installs. So you might spend a couple $100 on an inverter install. And with the carrier, I get pure sine wave versus whatever the other kind of wave power. See, this is one of those moments where you definitely know I'm not an expert. And so the power's better. I can run my laptop, microwave, coffee maker, and AC all at the same time. And so when you buy a carrier APU, you don't have to buy an inverter, you don't have to buy a bunk heater. And if the heat goes out on the APU, then it'll power a space heater. Whereas the Thermo King will work a little bit to power a space heater. Guys, thanks for watching. I think they got me loaded. I heard the plate go up. So, and that train's going to be annoying. So, thanks for watching. Just morning coffee. I'm not going to call it review because I already know the coffee kicks ass. And be safe out there, guys. And keep an eye on the hurricane. Be safe. If you're going to drive into it with power. So, don't do anything stupid. The money's not worth it. And for those of you that are doing it, make sure you get paid because it's worth it. So, yep, I'm loaded, guys. See you later.